Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode. That's right, the second episode. I realized that last episode was titled Episode -10. That was on
I'm so
purpose,
proud.
believe it or not.
hmm
Real quick, to start, a quick retraction. Last week, I referred to the latest Nicolas Cage cinema venture as The Unbearable Weight of Incredible Talent. It is, in fact, called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I was contacted by one of Nick Cage's handlers, not the social handlers, like one of the people who puts the little loop around his neck when he starts frothing. And I was informed that it is, in fact, called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Just wanted to quickly get that retraction in. Next, here I have a memo from the boss. It reads, to whomever keeps playing Don't Fear the Reaper on the jukebox in the cafeteria on repeat, could you please stop? Dear Lord above, please stop. My ears are bleeding. So, yeah, to whom that may concern, whoever is playing Don't Fear the Reaper on repeat on the jukebox, please stop. If anybody's even still at the office. The podcast is being recorded live in one of our many all glass-walled conference rooms, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know why you would do that. It seems like it would lack privacy. But what do I know? I seldom would leave the basement before quarantine hit. So I am joined here today by Mackenzie, who's from the PR department, right?
Hello. Yes. Yeah. I manage all of the company's social media accounts. It's a lot of weight on my back, to be honest. I have terrible back issues. Honestly, I'm not really supposed to critique the company openly, but this is just I'm just to give you a little bit of backstory, to give you a little bit of context. They called me in and they said, "Hey, this is dire." And I said, "Yeah, I see that. It's terrifying. I might be out of a job." And we all had a good laugh. Actually, in this conference room, actually, is when that conversation happened. An interesting fact about the conference rooms, you said, "I don't understand why walls are glass." Yeah, it's to increase environmental stimulation, which has been shown in our studies, the company studies. Not We don't trust anybody else to do our studies for us. We've had some situations, but yeah, it's supposed to increase environmental stimulation, and that is proven by our studies, by our scientists, to increase productivity in the workplace.
I didn't know that we had
Yeah.
a scientific wing of this company until very recently. What are some of the things that they've
Oh,
been
yeah.
working on recently?
Hmm. Oh, I can't discuss that. I can't discuss that
Oh, of course, of course, of course.
with you.
Of
Don't
course.
ask me again.
I won't. I won't. I won't.
Okay. All
Um,
right. Thank you.
so I have a story that I found not 7 minutes before the podcast opened. A story I'd never heard
Fresh.
of before, which is kind of mind-boggling that I've never heard of it before. It is the
Uh-huh.
Great Brinks Robbery. So
Oh.
back on January 17th, 1950, in, let's see, this is in Boston, $2.775 million in 1950, which is worth $29.9 million today.
Okay.
It was the largest robbery in the history of the U.S. until 1984. So
Oh.
the crazy thing about this was it was called the crime of the century, which is why I'm surprised that I hadn't heard of it. It was
Mhm.
composed of an 11-member gang and
They need better
10.
PR.
Yeah, oh, no
Mm.
kidding. I mean, the fact that we're just now learning about it is proof of that. What I
Yeah.
love,
This
I
aesthetics.
love stories where almost every single character has a name in quotes in the middle of their name. There's just
Oh,
something
yes.
beautiful about it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read you some bits and pieces from the wiki here. Joseph, quote, Big Joe McGinnis was the originator of the
Ah.
heist, according to information later gleaned from Joseph, quote, Specs O'Keefe. he brought in Anthony Pino and Stanley, quote, Gus Giscoria. I don't know why Anthony Pino didn't get a weird, cool name.
Gus.
I know Gus. Gus is good. Gus is very good.
They all must have had whip round where they were like, okay, we need like some really cool nicknames so that like in the future, or like you know, like as the heist is happening, like we can't refer to one another as our real names, of course, and everyone's like, oh yes, of course. So like pitches an idea, throw it in a hat, just shuffle it up so that we can't be identified by like the name that we chose for ourselves. Poor me.
What I don't understand are those names that are essentially, they're literally just a shortened version of part of their name. So like the anonymity factor is just entirely erased. And poor Anthony Pino didn't even get one. So like they're all sitting in a circle, tossing a yarn back and forth, and it's turning into a beautiful web of teamwork. And they're all giving each other special names. And they get to Anthony and they're like, well, guys, I guess we're done. And Anthony's just standing there like, freaking what? What? I guess, okay. So basically, in order to pull off the robbery, what they did was they went to an outside lock and they picked it with an ice pick. And then they removed the cylinders from the 5 locks and then took these cylinders to a locksmith to make a key that would fit the cylinders. So it's sort of this interesting reversal. They didn't get a key. They tore the cylinders out of a lock and had a locksmith make a key that would fit those cylinders, which is brilliant. It's really smart.
Okay, so I've got to look up the anatomy of a lock now, because I would imagine that like if the cylinders are like, you know, I think like, oh, you take the cylinders out, like the thing doesn't work anymore, right? But that's not the case. Like they would still need to go get a key.
Yeah, it seems.
Or like, did they like, accidentally like unlock the whole thing, and then like then they were so stuck on this extra step that they,
it would be really funny though if they literally tore open the entire lock and took just like a door and walked down a street with just a big metal door, took it into a locksmith and was like, "Can you make a key that'll fit this lock?" And they're like, "Well, isn't the bank going to be on alert now that you ripped their lock out? Don't ask questions."
They're just like really, really stuck on. They're just so fascinated with the lock. They're so impressed by its inner workings that they waste all this time.
Apparently, according to this wiki, Pino's brother-in-law, Vincent Costa, also didn't get a fun middle name, which is nice. So even people related to Anthony Pino can't even get a middle name. It's rough out here. And then there was...
Oh, they hate the family.
Yeah.
They just hate the family.
Michael Vincent, quote, Vinny, gone. Thomas, quote, Sandy Francis Richardson. Wow. Wait, Thomas, quote, Sandy Francis Richardson. Is that all one name? Jeez.
Sandy, where do the quotes end?
Thomas, quote, Sandy, end quote, Francis Richardson.
Oh.
So his regular name is Thomas Francis Richardson, I guess?
Yeah.
And then there's Adolf, H, quote, Jazz, unquote, Maffey. Like some of these are just so good, man. We gotta bring some of these back.
Yeah.
The heist itself, apparently they stopped the heist 6 times. So, like, the timing just wasn't right. Because, you know, when you rip a lock out of a building, that might cause a bit of a stir for a while. After that, you might have to wait until they replace the locks. And you'd have to wait and hope that they didn't put the same, like, a different lock in, apparently.
Yeah.
Some of these things don't add up. It's, like, the most brilliant, but also the most dumb thing you could do.
Who stop the heist? Team stop the heist, or did the police stop the heist?
So the heist didn't get stopped.
Hilarities.
The heist happens eventually.
Oh, okay.
I guess they started and then stopped 6 times, basically like, nah, timing's not right. So they enter the building with approximate costumes to the Brink company uniform, which is navy pea coat and chauffeur caps. And then they had rubber Halloween masks all the way back in 1950. So, like, that trope probably started with this, where in
oh, good for them.
Pop culture, people strolling on up to a bank in Halloween masks. So Pino and the driver were the getaway. So maybe that's why he didn't get a code name, is because they didn't really need to say his name quickly because he was just in the car, I guess. But it was 7 guys entered the building. 7
Really
people.
spoke to this man.
With their copied keys, they came into the second floor through the locked doors and surprised, bound, and gagged 5 Brinks employees who were storing and counting the money. Apparently, they failed to open the storage box containing the payroll of the General Electric company's, their box. So General Electric, they were going to steal from General Electric, couldn't get into their lockbox. Let's see. They scooped everything else out. The robbers walked out 7:30. So bank heist happens at 6:55. So pretty quick turnaround.
Good for them. It's very.
So that it was successful, right? It was what was it again? It was totaled in today's money to $29.9 million, which is insane. The way that these guys get caught is probably the dumbest thing possible. So the heist happens in January of 1950. In June of 1950, same year, 2 of the guys, O'Keefe and Gusciora, good old Gus, were arrested in Pennsylvania for a burglary. They stole $2.775 million. And the same year, they get busted for burglary. Like, unrelated. Like, that's so stupid. And apparently they removed the truck that the robbers used, they cut it to pieces, but they hid it near O'Keefe's home, which is probably not the best idea.
No.
So
how on earth did they manage to steal? What was it? 2.9 million.
2.775 million, which in today's money is almost 30 million.
How on earth did they manage the equivalent of $30 million?
It's so
7 of them breaking into a bank, and then all of it. Like how long ago? How long after?
It's the same year. It's January to June.
Oh my gosh! So you can't even give them the benefit of the doubt, and it's like, oh guys, we're rusty. Like this is a muscle we haven't worked late. No, like it happened last week.
It's like running. It's like climbing Everest and then dying on your way up a hill afterwards.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that's actually a very good.
Like, why did you already pulled off the heist of the century? What are you burgling for?
Pretty much.
That's beneath you.
Why would you ever climb a hill ever again?
You're too good at this. You weren't caught yet. So the dumb part is the guys who get caught wire their buddies for money to like pay for their to fight their conviction. So the guys that they caught call their other buddies, say, "Hey, can you bail me out?" And the cops have informers who are like, "Yeah, these 2 idiots who got caught burgling were calling these guys for money. We should probably check them out too."
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. So basically they get caught. A couple of the guys die. Here's the crazy part. Let's see. O'Keefe received 4 years and was released in 1960. Don't know how he managed that. He must have had a good lawyer. Only 58,000 of the 2.7 million was recovered. So
oh my gosh.
All that money is just lost in the wind. Like, who knows?
They didn't spend it in? Like, we don't know.
They either spent it and nobody was able to track the numbers, or they just buried it, or they lost it. Yeah. Who knows?
Huh.
But that was the story I found about the crime of the century up until 1984. That was the biggest heist. So there was a long 30-some year period where that was the biggest heist.
Well, you know, Max, it sounds like we need to go treasure hunting.
Oh, no.
You know? Well, where was this?
Boston.
Boston? Boston can't be that big. Boston? You know? Like I managed to navigate these halls all the time, and they're constantly changing, and half the time they're like I should be able to make my way around Boston and find. So 58,000 of it was recovered.
58 grand of the 2.7 million.
Okay, so this is feasible. We can make a plan, right? Like we can just a couple of meetings. I'll bring donuts, coffee. Like we can make this work. You ever read Six of Crows, son?
No.
You never read Six of Crows?
No, what's
Well,
Six of Crows?
all you need to learn about heists is basically an instruction manual. It's a book. It's a book by Leigh Bardugo, who was the author of the Shadow and Bone trilogy in the Grishaverse. And they recently have made a Netflix show called Shadow and Bone, based off of this series. The Six of Crows duology, the first book is Six of Crows, the second book is Crooked Kingdom, is the prequel to, well, it's an independent duology, but like part of it takes place before the original trilogy, and then it starts to bleed into the timeline of the original trilogy, and then she had two following. But yeah, no, Six of Crows is essentially it's a heist, and they are looking to steal 30 million Kruga, which is the currency of this world. Well, they're not stealing it. Sorry, they are looking to
That's what they all say.
That's, yeah.
We're not
Well,
stealing it. We're giving it back to the people.
Their goal is 30 million Krug, but to get that, they have to break into the secure military prison in this world and break out a political prisoner that is kept in the center ring. So this prison is like made up of rings, like
Okay.
3 rings.
Like concentric circles.
Yes. And they are looking to break out a political prisoner from the center. And there's like, I think it's 6 characters, Six of Crows, right? So there's six main characters, and they're all between the ages of 16 and 20, right?
Okay. That's bank robbing age.
So, and yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's when I robbed my
like,
first bank.
Well, exactly. Like
get them
like,
started early.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like we are. Maybe we might be past the prime, but we have experience, and so I feel like with this book, it provides the instructions that we would need to, for example, go to Boston and dig up. I keep forgetting the number. I'm just gonna write it down. What's the number?
The total, let's see,
million?
only 58 grand of the 2.7 million. So like 2 point something million.
2.7 million.
So like, the thing is, O'Keefe, one of the main guys, only got 4 years and was released in 1960 because O'Keefe was one of the guys who got busted for the burglary, but that might have been the only crime they could actually stick him with if they didn't have enough evidence to convict for the other thing. Yeah. So there's potentially a relative of O'Keefe could be alive. Because, I mean, he's probably not alive anymore, O'Keefe. Probably not. But I guarantee you, like, if any of his descendants are still living in the greater Boston area, maybe they know where the money is.
Yeah. This is good. This is good. Well, I'll add that to my list of things to do. I'll pin that in. Find O'Keefe's family members.
The guy who didn't get a code name tried to hire an assassin to kill O'Keefe.
No way.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I skipped over this. So O'Keefe's one of the guys who got busted for the burglary, right? And since they reached out to their crew, said Pino paid a small ransom, but then decided to try to kill O'Keefe. After a couple of attempts, he hired an underworld hitman, Elmer, quote-unquote, Trigger Burke, to kill O'Keefe. This is a code name on code name violence. Burke traveled to Boston and shot O'Keefe, seriously wounding him, but failed to kill him.
Oh.
So I guess the only reason why O'Keefe got out is because maybe he rolled on his buddies.
Wow.
O'Keefe later claimed that he had never seen his portion of the loot after he had given it to Mafi for safekeeping. So maybe that's why, if he's telling the truth, that would be why he got busted for burglaries, because they cut him out. What the heck? This is crazy. So that whole thing imploded on itself afterwards.
Wow.
That's crazy town.
Dang. They did not go to enough team building meetings.
They needed to. Like those team building exercises they have here at the company.
Yeah, exactly. I've never missed one. I've never missed a single team building exercise, meeting, class, because you know the meetings and the classes are two completely different things in terms of structure. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You've been there. It's a whole thing.
Hold
The
on hold
nuances
on.
are
Wait, wait,
important.
wait. Hold on. Did you
Yeah.
see that? Behind the glass.
No. What are you
I
talking
could have
about?
sworn I just saw something move behind the glass. Sorry. Continue.
No, I don't think so. We would have seen.
I mean, it's it's
100%.
it's it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. This
Hmm.
this this part of the building, I mean, they don't use it for conference meetings really anymore, I don't think. So we're probably fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if this room was, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. No, this room isn't booked. Somebody's gonna kick us out. It's okay. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, I checked the schedule this morning. You know, like that digital schedule. It's totally fine. Totally completely open. All the rooms on this floor are actually they were closed off because of asbestos. It's fine now.
Oh, good.
Don't no, worry.
Well, I also know
It's
that
fine now.
asbestos is also super easy to remove, so that's a relief.
I think we're talking about two different types of asbestos. You're, you're thinking of asbestos. I'm asbestos, which you've never seen it like grow, have you?
But
You've
wait.
never like they had like when they oh, where have you been? Yeah, when they had this whole floor blocked off, like you could like peek in and like actually see it moving. It was really cool.
That's
Like I've never actually like
that's
gotten to get that close before.
that's
But it's
not
fine now. No, no,
okay.
no, it's fine. Like they got it all dealt with, and so like all of like the next floor up, all of those conference rooms are full up because of the asbestos. And I happened to get this one like right after, like right after it opened up, and like I don't think most people even know that this floor is open anymore. So
Oh, well,
yeah,
that clinches it. No one can be up here because of the
yeah,
growing asbestos.
not anymore.
Oh,
It's fine
right,
now.
of
They
course.
got it all in. They got it all in obsidian jars. It's fine.
Oh,
You
good.
know how it goes.
That's
Yeah.
that's a relief.
Did you not come to the crash course?
Um, I'm not gonna lie. I went down into the basement storage, which very wet, and met a buddy
I
down
heard.
there. That's where episode -10
Hmm.
happened. But I was down there for a while. I couldn't find the exit door behind all the unmarked crates.
Hmm. Hmm. Did they tell you that the exit door was behind the unmarked crates?
No, I figured that out. Probably a week and a half in down there.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
eyesight got really good in the dark though,
Oh, good. That's okay. That's
like
that's
a pirate.
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Is that true, by the way?
But
I feel like I have heard 17 different versions of that story in
which
regard to pirates specifically. So, like the eye patch. I remember when I
Mhm.
was a kid, people told me, well, it was eye patches were to have one eye constantly trained for the dark so that way, if there was an attack at night, they could still see. Or I've also heard versions of it where it was if they
Mm.
have to go below deck, they can see because when you are out in the sun on deck and you have to go down into the hold, you're like blinded for a second because it's just so dark. And
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
really
I've heard like a
clever.
ton of different stories about that, but I
Mhm.
never get a straight answer about it. Like I don't even know when did the eye patch become associated with pirates? Like was it something that all
Mm.
of them did, some of them did, or or was it just because one dude actually lost an eye one time and I don't know.
That's my guess is gonna be like a Monty Python, The Life of Brian situation where it's like we follow the gourd and we follow the shoe.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably like somebody actually did have like an eye injury, and so they ended up putting an eye
The
patch on
first
there.
pirate to have a hook hand and itch his eye was also the first pirate
Yeah,
to have an eye patch.
yeah.
He's just
He
a
was
self-destructing pirate. Each of
he's
his maladies,
he's
and
like
then
a
he broke his
trailblazer.
leg because he couldn't see, and then he had a peg leg.
He really like blazed the trail for
Yeah.
pirates for generations. Like we owe so much to him. But yeah, no, like he probably like, maybe was a little bit embarrassed about it, or like people like didn't like they just assumed, like they didn't even bother to ask him like, hey, like why are you wearing an eye patch? They just assumed like, oh, like he's seen some stuff. And now he sees a little less,
Yeah, he
like
saw
they
his
did
hook
probably.
hand. That's what he saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And so everyone was like, I'm gonna do that too. And then
the
they found out that there's like
that's
actually
a
like a patch
trendy
over the.
product right there. And that is why
Yeah.
this would work perfectly in your wheelhouse as a social media person.
Ooh, do
I'm
tell.
constantly trying to figure out ways of getting promoted so I can move up and up in this infinitely tall building that we work in, obviously. And
Oh,
that's the only way you move up.
wow.
You move up the corporate
Mhm.
ladder in a literal sense, right? And so last episode I was trying to come up with a product that our company could sell that would solve a specific problem. And so I want to do another one of
Mm.
those. But I'm curious, like, do you have a problem that you think could be solved? A common, just super
Mm.
generic problem that people have. I'm also trying to think of one.
Well, to be honest, sleep is just it's so frustrating to me that I have to stop everything I'm doing once a day, sometimes twice. I'm a very busy person. My schedule is completely full up, and like, if I want to free it up, like I gotta go through the whole process. It's just so annoying. But like, I have so much to do, and like, I love my job so much that like,
Mm-hmm.
I hate having to stop and sleep.
I
You
like the
know?
direction this is headed. So
Well,
let's put our collective brains together and try what could we do, because obviously there's
mhm.
the regular boring
Hmm.
answers: coffee, energy drinks. Boring.
Yeah, I mean, none of them work.
Duh,
None of them work.
or they kill you, or
Or they,
which is like the ultimate sleep, which also is not what you want.
well, and now here's the thing, though. Oh, we're kind of getting into little dangerous territory, Max. Like, you're kind of, but well, like the energy drinks they sell like in the lounge, right?
Right.
Yeah, corporate cup.
Oh yeah.
It's trademarked by the business, right? Like we can't exactly, and I want it to be clear that like I'm not like attacking you. I'm not trying to like stifle your creative energy or anything like that. Like I really like it. Like you have some drive. Like that's awesome. But we need to be very careful about like introducing new ideas to the company. Like management can get very defensive isn't the right word. I shouldn't even have said that word. But they just don't want anything that's going to compete with what they know already works.
I'm
Does
not
that make
gonna.
sense?
I'm not gonna. You're
Corporate
right. Yeah,
Cup
and I'm not gonna lie. I
works.
didn't know corporate cup was technically an energy drink. Maybe because of its scant writing on the outside of the bottle, it just says corporate cup. So I didn't know we had an energy drink. But maybe we could come up,
Hmm.
as since you work in PR, maybe we could
Yeah.
come up with a way to sell corporate cup. To a broader audience, like the commercial, right? The commercial flashes up
Oh
on screen
yeah.
and it's got black and white rings that sort of pulsate, and you just hear a
Yes,
voice saying
minimalism.
corporate cup, and
Yeah.
it says like 40 times and then it turns off. I think, okay, so do you remember the Nintendo Wii commercials
Well,
where
before we go there, I just want to let you know I just had like a spiritual experience. Minimalism is the way to go, and like you just hit the nail on the head. How Wow, it was very impressive. Okay, so yeah, the
yeah, do you
we,
remember the Wii commercials where the two guys
yeah,
in the tuxedos would apparate onto the porches of every white Midwestern family, and they would be
mm,
they'd open up the door, and these two strangers would lean forward holding a Wiimote and would just say, "We would like to play." And then smash cut. They're immediately
yes,
invited into the house. They're in the living room, watching
yeah.
approvingly, nodding, smiling to each other as this family exercises, thinking that it's fun. Now, what if
It
we did
is
something
fun.
similar? What if we had
Uh,
salesmen, the commercial pitch is two guys that show up at your door with corporate cup? Because clearly
oh,
that worked, because the family just lets them in.
yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing, though. I see what you're saying. It's interesting. This is very interesting. We're coming back full circle because sales used to be that door-to-door regimen. Like, and I was just talking with a wonderful woman named Cheryl. I don't know if you know Cheryl. But she's an accountant, and of course it's tax season, and she's like completely swamped. And but she was telling me about she does not. I mean, she loves her job. She loves her job here. But she was telling me about how like how it originated was she first got into sales, and how sales used to be that door-to-door regimen, right? And like you have to be a very personable person. Now, like with social media, like you don't necessarily have to be sociable. You just have to be present on the internet and interact with one another. And like that's my whole job. But that's actually very interesting what you bring up, because what you're proposing is a return to that in person,
That door to
the in
door
person. Exactly. No, I
personal.
mean that's exactly what you're getting at. Because like
I
the
maybe
convenience of technology has kind of like removed that personable aspect of it a
maybe
little
what
bit.
corporate cup needs is a real
Yeah.
snappy slogan. And maybe that's
Okay.
what I'm looking to pick your brain about, because
Mm.
I think the
Ooh.
adverts they need just a little extra oomph, you know?
Um, I mean, I think the adverts are very good.
Oh, they're good.
Um,
Don't get me wrong. They're good.
yes, yeah,
But
I love our adverts. But I think I see what you're saying. Like, how can we make it even better?
like corporate cup, never sleep again.
Okay. I love that. I love that.
I think it could work. It's short, it's to the point.
Yeah.
Corporate cup, never sleep again.
I mean, I would buy it.
I have, and
And I
I don't even
have,
know
yes.
why. I just have. I don't
I
even
would buy
think.
more.
I don't think I have ever had a conscious thought I am going to buy corporate cup, but I know instinctively that I have in fact bought corporate
Mhm.
cup before.
And it's honestly, the formula is so nice. Like what it tastes like it tastes like but it works. Like I it keeps me up. Like, you know what I mean? Like it looks like if we could taste it works though. Like it really works. I have at least two or three a day. But unfortunately, like it just maybe that's something that we could like pass on to our scientific team is like how could we maybe like make it work for that 24-hour period when you really have to crunch. This is good stuff. This is good stuff, Max.
Okay, so according to a website, the most dangerous ingredients in energy drinks, according to dietitians, uh, the first thing on the list is caffeine.
Oh,
like, um, that
great.
there's a slight. Okay, so the problem with red is that it's red. You know, the
Right?
color red
I
is just
mean,
so red that it's a
yeah.
problem. Okay, hold on.
Oh,
What's
I
number
see.
two?
Yeah.
I gotta see this. Taurine. Let's see. I think I know what this is, and it's not
That
good.
sounds fun.
Let's see. Taurine. It doesn't. It sounds like something distilled from like a bull.
A
You know,
bowl.
it's got
Oh,
that Latin spelling.
yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So,
That's not
it's a
that's
stimulant to enhance
okay.
physical and mental performance. But apparently, our bodies produce it naturally. So, like, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
number three is sugar, obvi. Uh,
Obvi.
number four is niacin, which just sounds like straight up poison.
Yeah. Yeah, anything that ends with scene,
Yeah, just
SCI,
it's not. Yeah,
and
niacin just doesn't. It's not good. It's not good.
okay, is it niacin or is it niacin?
It's it's niacin, which
In
niacin sounds like
I
something that would be
oh
in a
okay.
cigarette.
Yeah. Mm. Mm. I like Red Bull a lot. I don't drink as much Red Bull as I used to in college, but I do like one every once in a while. It's really good for like game days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually having a game day today with my brother and my brother-in-law, and we all get together and we play Apex.
Heck yeah.
And they carry me so far.
Okay.
And but like Red Bull is like the treat of the day, like
Ah.
it's like, oh, I get to have a Red Bull today, and so I have them every once in a while.
Signs of niacin toxicity include flushing, dizziness, low blood pressure, fatigue, headache, upset stomach, nausea, blurred vision, and inflammation of the liver.
And this is why I'm uncomfortable because I like my energy drinks. sometimes.
Guarana.
Oh
I've had
no.
guarana soda before. Is a fruit
What?
whose
How do you
seeds
spell
are
that?
Guarana. Guarana. Guarana is a fruit whose seeds are used as a caffeine additive in many energy drinks. Blah, 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 blah. Concentrated amounts of caffeine. Okay, so a lot of it's coming back to caffeine. So
Yes.
basically, all of these ingredients that are part of energy drinks are essentially just Trojan horses for caffeine. So really, I
Yeah.
understand why the number one thing that's bad about energy drinks is caffeine, because every single item on this list comes back to like caffeine. Like every item is just it's all just stimulants. So at this point,
Yes.
is it just like the guy who is making the back of the can was just like, our ingredients list is so sparse. We need 40 different ways of cramming caffeine into this.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, it shows like I think when people see that big list of ingredients, people are like, "Oh, like they've definitely done their research."
Oh,
You know,
this is
like
a
they've tried some things out and this is what works.
kicker. Ginseng.
I love
Improve
ginseng.
physical stamina, concentration, memory, stimulate immune function. Slow the aging process.
Perfect.
What?
Perfect.
Ginseng slows just bathe in ginseng then.
Just
Uh
yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is the kicker. Ginseng in large quantities has also been shown to negatively interact with caffeine. Let me just
Mm,
stop there. Freaking
yeah.
what?
I don't know.
Oh man. So just the kicker. The most dangerous ingredients in energy drinks, according to dietitians, number one, caffeine. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just close the page now. You don't need to
Yeah.
hear anymore. That's it. It's like walking
It's
up on
no, it's what
stage when the curtain opens
yeah.
at a Shakespeare play and saying, "Everyone dies."
Everyone died, and then everyone applauds because they're like, "This is why we came.
Oh my
This is why we
gosh.
came. Like we came to relearn this simple truth about the human experience."
So my parents, when they were younger, used to go
Mhm.
to operas. Apparently, Columbus was a
Ooh,
hotbed for operatic activity. Apparently, and they
that sounds like a natural thing. Columbus, Ohio, was a hotbed for
like a
operatic
news
activity.
reporter.
Yes, exactly. In the year
17 opera
1987, this
sightings have been
activity.
confirmed in downtown Columbus.
Exactly.
The death
Oh my
toll is
gosh.
rising. Um,
Singing in the streets.
Honestly, I've heard theories about like movies that are musicals, how it's almost like a zombie apocalypse where people catch the singing
Yeah.
bug and just start dancing. There's
Have
always
you
outlying
seen?
characters who don't want to
Mhm.
be in an opera. You can just tell. The characters
Yeah.
don't want to sing, they don't want to dance, and by the end of the movie, doggone it, Music Man is a freaking musical necromancer. He's just pulling people into
Ooh.
this thrall spell. It's almost freaky. I watched the movie and I was like, I'm just going to pretend that Harold Hill is, I mean, he's already a little bit weird. He's a little bit of a creep, but let's pretend Harold
Oh.
Hill is a magician because every time he just sucks people into his spell.
Hmm.
That's my theory. If you
Hmm.
watch it, a little couple music changes, maybe a sepia filter, movie's entirely different. Every time he talks to someone, he literally, in some scenes, will put his hand in their face and move his hand like he's hypnotizing them. It's weird. It's
Hmm.
very
I've
strange.
I've never seen this film.
Music Man?
Um, yeah, I've never seen it.
It's
I'm looking at the like frames. Oh.
it's a good movie, but he is literally like a weird hypnotist magician. And
Yeah.
so apparently, my parents went to these operas, right? And apparently they went to one where there was a projected screen because obviously many of those plays are in different languages, mostly Italian, right? And
Okay.
they're watching this play in Italian, and so there are subtitles, like the original English dubs, up on the walls,
Yeah.
projected. And the projectionist guy was on the struggle bus the entire show, where he didn't have it centered on the screen. So there was like a
Oh
clear
no.
screen on the wall for the
Yeah.
projection to hit, and the entire play it was off, and he kept trying to move it. And
Oh
mom and dad said
no.
eventually over the course of the show, people were not paying attention to the
Yeah.
play, and we're only
Yeah.
focused on the secret struggle that this projectionist was having. And at one point in the show, on stage, one of the characters dies. And right at that moment, the projectionist squared up the picture, and everyone starts cheering and clapping. And the people on stage, they're horrified because it's what's supposed to be a tragic scene has been entirely ruined because the projectionist finally, in his moment of triumph, ruined the show.
Completely overshadowed by everybody's like
entirely.
How far into the show was this?
Like probably at least 3/4. It had to have been near the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
for like an
so
hour
funny.
and a half, everybody was just miserable. And there's just this like instant bliss as soon as everything is lined up, and it just so happens to be at the same moment that the most tragic instance of the show is occurring. That's a story for the ages, though. Like in terms of like on the like from the perspective of the actors, like I'm sure they tell that story all the time, and I'm sure everybody's completely miffed at the projectionist as well. That poor guy.
Gosh, you know what that reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
The Russian,
yes.
I believe it was the Russian Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Where the opening ceremony, the first thing that comes in is, what did you say?
I said, did the flame go out?
It was worse than that. So actually, the flame would be worse. That would be the worst. The first thing
everybody would have like a collective panic.
The first thing that shows up when you type in Russian Olympics is ban and scandal. Hold on.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, that's kind of their MO. That's why in the last Olympics, they weren't there, and they basically had proxy Russians flying under a neutral flag to compete.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I do remember that.
So, the opening performance... let's see. So, basically, if I remember correctly, I'm on a news website, so believe nothing. Okay.
I don't believe anything anyway.
Good.
Except for what corporate says.
Of course. Oh, well, all hail corporate. The opening ceremony, this girl was suspended by like cables from the roof of the Olympic ceiling.
Oh no.
And she was jumping. She was okay, but like practicing for the thing, she like broke her arms. Like it was an insane story. Goodness. And she's like jumping from island to suspended island, each of the island representing different aspects of Russian history and culture. And after this whole amazing spectacle, when they lower the Olympic rings, one of them doesn't light.
No. That's sad. Okay. That's sad, but it's not as bad as what I thought you were going to say, which was that her cables snapped.
No, she was fine. I felt bad for her just thinking about all the time and effort she put into that. So apparently I think they, once producers realized what happened, they cut to rehearsal footage where all 5 rings happened. But there's a picture here that I can hear. Let me put it in, let me quickly show you. Here on this module screen that we have. I just put it up on screen. The text underneath this picture says, despite best efforts of Russian state TV, the image of the malfunctioning rings has been sent around the world within minutes.
Aww,
so they tried to cover it up. But it did. Can you imagine being the lighting technician?
Yeah. Having an absolute heart attack while the rings aren't working.
You gotta leave.
Can you imagine the panic?
You gotta leave
backstage. You don't even say goodbye.
No.
You don't even take anything with you. You walk out and you are never.
you say "niet" and you walk out.
You say "niet" and then you just depart.
Leave. You freaking leave.
You're rushing out of there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt again. I'm almost positive I just saw something behind the glass this time.
Okay, which one though?
The one behind you. There's the
behind me.
Yeah, there's like breath on it. It's all fogged.
Well, that could just be residual asbestos. Like what do you like? What's got you so worried?
It's fine. It's probably one of the janitors who also got locked in here with us. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and he does such a great job too. Like, look at this carpet, man. Isn't it nice?
I could have sworn this used to be white though, and this is red.
Is it red? it looks like a chartreuse.
Those are
For a
two very different colors. Like I don't think you
I
could
should
get
get-
much different on the color wheel than red and chartreuse.
I should get my eyes checked.
I hear
Wait,
that
well,
there is a guy going around the office giving eye exams, but I haven't had mine yet.
excellent. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Did you have any
I have
stories that you wanted to share?
I do, and honestly, it's related to the carpet. So
Oh,
this is like a
perfect.
great, yeah. Well, so you know, like I hate sleep, but when I do sleep, I dream a lot, right?
Okay.
And the carpet made me think about this. I had a very interesting dream the other night, and I don't really remember the first half, but it was
Okay.
one of those. It felt like I was plunged into one of those animes where the high school setting is a Trojan horse to talk about class warfare.
Okay. Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's a common. I mean, I'm
exactly.
basically an anime expert, so of course.
Yeah, well, I mean that's yeah, it's very common, but I was like, okay,
The
sure. Like
the
I'm in a
girl
high
running
school.
late to class with a piece of bread in her mouth with a
Oh my
sword
gosh.
bloodied from the entrails of her enemies.
Yeah, like she's just saved the world, but doggone it, she's gonna make that math test, or else she can't be expelled.
Oh
You know, like it's
no.
a whole thing. Like she won't. Anyway, yeah, no. So it was one of those instances where it's like, okay, like I understand that there is some kind of conflict going on here, and I
Okay.
have to like stand with my side of the two groups that are fighting in this. And then at one point in time, there is a split, and the entire second floor up in this structure is barred off. So like the doors are shut. There are guards like posted at the doors to like the stairwells and into like the inner sanctum of like the first floor. Like if you imagine like a main
Yeah,
lobby,
there's
you
the
know,
supply closet, there's the cafeteria, and then there's the inner sanctum.
and then there's the inner sanctum. So like cafeteria is blocked off, inner sanctum is blocked off because the inner sanctum is where like all the stairs are,
That's where all the fun
Like it's
stuff
like
happens.
all the fun stuff happens, the sanctum. But like you've got your like your big open room and then like staircases that lead up and then like split off at the center, right? So that's how you get up to the second floor and up.
Okay.
And so you couldn't go into that room because then you would have access to the stairs. So like supply closets totally free. Everything else was like a struggle, and the guards were very adamant to like keep you out. But so everything that happened up to that point is relatively inconsequential. But like that is the general like that is why because I'm trying to get up to the second floor in my dream. That is why I start looking for alternative stairwells. Um, as
Like
I'm looking
alternative
for
milks for your coffee.
alter-
I'm li-
yeah,
I'm
well,
looking for alternative
yeah.
stairs.
I'm looking. Yeah, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Well, I'm thinking,
Free
I'm thinking
range,
like
free range, non-GMO stairs for
non-GMO
once.
vertical.
Does
I need
anybody
vertical,
carry alternative stairs?
but as Ron Boo refers to them, they're vertical floors. And that's how you know that they're distinct. Like they're distinct from like your typical run-of-the-mill stairs.
Okay.
They're 40-degree floors, 45-degree floors.
Okay.
45-degree floor. I butchered that. I butchered what he calls it. I'm so sorry. But I'm looking for alternatives. Looking for a stairwell that hasn't been blocked off. And as I'm walking, I feel the ground beneath my feet change. You know how sometimes it happens here in the building where it's like, oh, I thought this was a hardwood floor, and then like suddenly you're walking on tile. It's like,
Yeah.
it just happens.
Yeah.
It was a similar thing, except this wasn't tile. This was puce carpet
Ooh.
that was just moist enough
Oh
that
no.
my sandals, right,
Why were you
would
wearing sandals in your dream?
stick. I don't
Of all the
know.
shoes you could wear in your dream, why are you wearing
Why am
sandals?
I wearing? I don't know. I hate wearing
You need
sandals. I really
alternative
don't know why.
shoes.
Um, I need alternative shoes. It's a great. The other day, my sister, I was standing outside with my sister, when I'm on my break when I am allowed to go outside.
Yeah.
I was standing out with my sister and it was cold and we were both shivering and I looked down and I realized that she was wearing sandals and she didn't have, I forgot the word for sock. So I said, "Oh," I said, "you don't have any pants on your feet."
What? You did not.
I did. I 100% forgot the word for socks
Feet
and
pants.
I said, "I'm so
Alternative
sorry."
socks. Feet pants.
Feet pants. You can just add it to
A
your
new
portfolio.
product. Screw
Exactly.
socks. Feet pants.
No stairs, no socks. We got 45-degree alternative stairs, 45-degree feet pants. This is good stuff. Good
Feet
stuff.
pants.
So feet pants.
I can't
So I
believe.
so I I had no pants on my feet in my
Okay.
dreams. And I was wearing like those cheap, like they're like $5 sandals you get from like fast fashion stores. And
The
so
ones that break the first time you break out in a sprint.
yeah, there's no support. The straps are like, like so thin that they snap like the second time you wear them.
The
So
shoes
mhm.
themselves are so soft, but the plastic piece is so hard that the materials don't mesh well. And so
Yes.
the hard plastic piece tears right through. It's like the
True. Yeah.
cheap foam like the cheap foam toys for kids that like they're like
Yeah.
blocks or connecting pieces. That's like squishy
Yeah.
foam. It's useless
Yeah.
material. Useless.
This is more like if you've ever been to Charlotte Rue, this is more like instead of the foam, it's like a piece of cardboard that has been baked for quite a while. And so it's like, it's like a piece, it's like it's in that weird limbo between cardboard and wood. And so it's basically you have the support as though you were walking barefoot on hardwood floor. And it's miserable.
Yeah,
It's
that
absolutely miserable, but they're cheap, you know? Um, but I can't buy those anymore. They absolutely kill me. Yeah. So, but like my dream shoes, my dream cardboard shoes, cardboard wood shoes are sticking to the carpet as I
Oh
walk because the
no.
carpet is just moist enough.
Oh
So like
no.
the area, like the atmosphere is like dead quiet and it's just the sound of my shoes sticking and unsticking from the carpet and
Oh.
slapping against my heel. But I
Oh.
did find you will be so proud to know that I did find those alternative stairs.
Oh, good.
I found those alternative stairs, and what I learned, there are 3 floors above the main floor. And so I am walking up these stairs, right? And what I realized as I'm walking up is, oh, church, because it had those like wooden railings, right? The carpet
Okay.
was exactly the same, right? The walls kind of had that like 70s
Yeah.
wood, like
Yeah.
wood panel walls. I There were many doors as I walked up. So I would walk up and there's a landing, right? And then I walk up again and there's the second floor. And there were doors that I could go through, and the doors were kind of like this cream color. And I decided like I'm not gonna go in there just yet, not just yet. I made it up to the third floor. Third and then fourth. So I made it up to the one of the last one. When I get up to the top, the roof, the ceiling is kind of slanted a little bit, like like it comes to a point and they didn't really
Okay.
think about it. They're like, oh, we've got all this space, but like we can't make the walls like that tall. So like the roof will just kind of it'll, you're walking through it. You're walking through a pentagon at that point, with
Okay.
like the angled roof. And I found somebody down a hall full of doors. Again, carpet, puce carpet,
Yeah.
slightly moist. And there is some of the doors are open and the rooms are completely empty, and no windows, by the way, which I thought was an interesting design choice, seeing as how effective like these like windowed office spaces are. So it was kind of unsettling that I couldn't see out. But in one room, I could hear at the end of the hallway, I could hear a shower running. And in one room, I found a baby in a bouncer watching television. He was a very well-behaved child. He was a
Was he swirling a drink in his right hand? Did he have a stogie in the other?
no, he was so he had a teal pacifier and he was sitting in one of those bouncers.
Uh-huh.
It's not like the kind where like his legs go through the holes and he bounces. It's like for children slightly younger where it's like a seat and or it's like a how do I describe it? Like he lays back in it.
Yeah. It's like
Like yeah.
it's like reclining, but they can sort of rock
Yes.
in it.
Yes, he's laying in that. The lights are off in his room, and he's watching TV.
Oh no.
And I peek in just to make sure that he's okay. And to be honest, I had a hard time looking him in the eye. I found that I couldn't look him in the eye. And so I checked to make sure that he was okay and got this feeling that somebody was coming. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like the baby's okay. Like somebody is here to take care of the baby." Um, and so I turned around and I left. So that's my experience with the top floor. Now, I go down the stairs, my my sandals sticking to the carpet all the way down. I
Doesn't
get
get
I get
better.
down.
It doesn't get better
No,
every time.
it
It's still
really
bad.
doesn't. It really doesn't. I get down back down to the first floor, and then I realize, oh, there's stairs going down. Like they kind of, it's like all the stairs are in a column, um, basically. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna head down and see what's down there. Maybe more babies. I went down one flight, and then I got to the next one. Right, I got to the next floor. Felt like I shouldn't be there. And I went down one more floor, and the temperature dropped, um, both in terms of feeling and in terms of like the color, right? As if you took like the temperature scale on like if you're editing a
Right.
photo,
Yes.
it
Yes.
it like it's like somebody was like slowly dragging that down to cool.
Okay.
And so like all of the puce carpet kind of took on this like periwinkle tone. And I didn't even make it to the bottom. I stopped 3 steps from the bottom floor. So this is 2 levels down from the main floor. And there were 2 doors, one going left and one going right. One was cracked, the other one was shut. And then I walked back up because I knew, I was very, very aware. I knew that if I kept going, it was not going to be good.
What?
So I decided I'm not going to go down that road, and I went back upstairs, and then I woke up.
I cannot fathom having that phenomenal of dream recall. Like, that is incredible. Also, just tale as old as time as far as animes are concerned. I mean, it's basically your average run-of-the-mill everyday anime plot.
Pretty
So I don't
much.
think it'll sell,
Yeah.
but it is,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, maybe for a first-time anime watcher, they'd watch it.
Yeah. They think
But
that that's like the greatest thing ever, but then they watch like
it's
a
got all the
renowned anime.
staples of good anime: sticky carpet,
Yeah.
baby watching television, cracked
Yeah.
doors.
I mean, those are all in my favorite shows. They're all
Yeah,
in my favorite shows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Produced by by corporate.
Never sleep again.
Never sleep again. Yeah, well, I mean, you can kind of see why maybe. It's probably not the best to sleep all the time if something like that happens.
Yeah.
Like it didn't wake up with the best feeling. I get sleep paralysis quite often, so I woke up a little frozen, a little sweaty. Funny how that works. You're sweating, but you're also like, free. Couldn't move for a little bit, and then I
Oh.
decided, yeah. So,
Oh. Well, there's
mhm.
nothing I could say that's going to top that. So with that, I think we are going to end this episode of the podcast. Still don't have a name for it, and that's okay. Um, well, Mackenzie, thank you for. Do you walk
Hmm.
down here or walk up here from the PR department?
Um, Let me see. So my office is okay. So the office is there, and then I usually go out the door. The fog comes in, and then I kind of get this feeling of like a left turn and a straight plummet down. So I come down. I come down to my
Okay. Well,
office.
thank you for coming
Mhm.
down from the PR department to this
Absolutely.
conference room.
Thank you
Hopefully.
so much for having
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. And if you ever find the exit, please, for the love of everything, let me know. Yeah, that's going to do it. So,
You know I can't do that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, there. I definitely saw something. Right. Turn around, quick! Turn around.
Okay. What?